Great day, attractive thinkers. We are back with you with another episode of Beyond the Break 2020. Welcome our host, my co-host, Tichet Bradshaw, the visual encourager. We are so excited. I trust you had a fantastic and amazing day so far, because it's a great day to be alive, and get excited about that. You know, be excited about living again and breathing again and moving about and having your creativity and your ideas, being in your right mind. You know, start your day off right, affirming yourself. This is what Beyond the Break is all about, giving you the tools that you need to support a life beyond the break, beyond life, beyond circumstances, beyond that defining moment or that destiny moment, beyond that level of success, beyond that thing that frustrated you or challenged you. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your Break the Cycle specialist at theattractivethinker.guru, and my co-host,
Tichet Bradshaw, the visual encourager at visualencouragement.com.
Tichet, tell us a little bit about visual encouragement. What is visual encouragement?
Yes, we provide mental support for people dealing with depression who desires to lift the heaviness so that they can create a new vision for themselves. My website is there for all your mental support and visualization that you need to help get you ignited, uplifted, and encouraged.
I love that. I love that. The website is there with all the tools, the mental health support that you need. That is so important, because there was a time that we were living where that wasn't readily available, definitely not talked about, and shunned, you know, and a person felt a certain kind of way when they were going through issues that dealt with mental health. So I'm excited about Visual Encourager, because it's a tool, it's a resource where people can freely go to and really find themselves in the beautiful poetry that you share, in the beautiful writings that you share, because that's a thing that happens to us when we're going through something. It's hard to find ourselves in anything else, in a book, in a message, in a video, or in a conversation. It's hard to find yourself, especially when you feel a certain way about what you're going through. You're not telling anybody, nobody knows about it, and you're just hoping and praying that you can find something, or something will come to you, whereas you don't have to be exposed about what you're going through. Something will come to you that will help you and inspire you or shift you back into your powerful self. So I'm excited about the Visual Encourager, because people need that resource. And it's not just about encouragement, but the images, the graphics, you know, the pictures that you see there, they're triggers. You know, you see something so beautiful, you see something that you don't understand, and you look a little closer, you know, to try to get an understanding. When you do that, that takes your mind off of what you're going through. And now that creative side of you is being inquisitive, looking around, seeing if you can find something or find yourself in that image. So there's a lot of great pieces and parts to the mental health aspect, and really getting you back into your powerful self at visualencouragement.com. Today, attractive thinkers, Tichet and I are so excited to be back with you. We've heard your comments and your feedback from the videos that we're posting. Remember, again, I can't say this enough. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Beyond the Break 2020, because you don't want to miss an episode. We're coming with fire and power. We know exactly where you are and what you need and what you're going through. And we have been given a gift of insight and inspiration and clarity and vision and wisdom that we freely share, was freely given to us, and we freely share it with you. That's us doing our part to make sure you're successful, make sure you're at the top of your game, that you're strong, mentally strong, that you can, you understand who you are. You see yourself properly in the right light, so that you can move forward in your life, instead of waking up and struggling to have motivation, struggling for inspiration, struggling to remember who you are, struggling to remind your mind of what you said you were going to do just yesterday. So today we're going to be talking about, or should I say, we want to shine the light on and remind you that God's got you. God has got you. I want you to start out, Tichet, just share with our audience about what does that mean? We've heard that before. That's nothing new. We've heard that before. And I know our audience knows by now, we're not into cliches. We're not into, things that ring your bell or itch your ear or, to get you stirred up and surface stuff or something that doesn't have any meaning. God's got you. We want to dive deeper into that. What does that mean? Because there's so many aspects of that.
We, in this day and age, we have a lot going on.
Yeah.
We have protests and, different laws being changed, and there's a shift in the atmosphere. And while we have all this stuff going on, we forget that God has us. And when I say God has us, that means He's never left you, nor have He forsaken you. He really has you. He is right there by your side. He's taking you through it. And if we can really listen to His Spirit and trust the Spirit within, we will hear Him. And also, if we open our eyes with the right lenses, we can see Him. We can see all of His work. We can see that He is always there. He's always been there. I have had so many different experiences where I felt like God had me. A lot of things that happened that I know I could not have done by myself. You have all these different things where people say it was by the grace of God that we were able to make it through this and get through that. And though hindsight is 2020, and sometimes we don't recognize that He's with us while we're going through stuff. Sometimes we look back and say, oh my goodness, God, you're with me all the time. But it is such a blessing to know that He's with you in the midst of it. While you're in the midst of everything you're going through, He's right there with you. He's got you. He's carrying you. He's guiding you. He's leading you. He's teaching you. And there's so many valuable lessons that come out of that. But I want us to really understand that last week we talked about you're not alone. And we talked about what it means to have that connection. When you have that connection and you're connecting with God, you have that visual of not being alone because He's with you. And really, that's really all you need. If everything else adds on to it, in the midst of all the things we're going through, He said, he that keeps his mind on me, I keep him in perfect peace. So it is possible to have perfect peace while going through something when you trust that God has you, when you trust that all things work together for the good, for those that love God and are called according to His purpose. When you trust that, you can believe that no matter what's going on, it's going to work out for the better. It's going to work out for the greater. Things might not always work out the way you imagined it to be, but just know there's always a bigger picture. And nothing that you're going through is in vain. It all serves a purpose. We'll be talking about later on down the road about turning your pain into power and things like that. We have a lot that we go through, but when you trust and believe that there's a bigger picture, everything you're going through is not in vain, and all things work together for the good, and you know that God got you, it helps you to endure whatever it is you're going through a little bit more. It helps you to make it through it. They say the race is not given to the swift, but to the one that will endure. It gives you the strength to endure when you know that God, the person who is above all, is all, know all, has got your back. He got you. He's taking care of you. He's right there with you. You can hear Him speaking to you, but we have to tune in and hear Him. We have to tune into His voice and hear Him and follow directions and trust it. So yes, I believe wholeheartedly that there were so many different experiences where God has me.
Yes, I totally agree, Tichet, and thank you so much for sharing that. While you were talking, this always happens to me while you're talking, because usually when people talk in words, I see in pictures. So while you were talking, you mentioned our episode from last week, You're Not Alone. And I felt a presence when you said that, you're not alone. So, I mean, when people hear that, like, you're not alone, be like, what, is somebody in this room with me? If you begin to see God as a presence, not just around you, but in you, that presence, you can feel it. It moves you. It does so. You feel it inside you, and
Yes.
it's an awareness. His presence brings an awareness that you're not alone, that something else is here besides me. Something else is supporting me besides me. Something else is holding me up besides me. And you can't get to that part whereas you are in agreement that God is with you until you know that he is for you.
If
You
God is for you, who could be
that he is
against
for you, that he is for you, and that he is
you?
with you. We can't get to the
Yes.
part of fully stepping into and embracing the fact that God is for me. God's got me, that he's got me, until I understand that he's for me, that he's with me. There's some things that have to take place before we get to that fully knowing part of God's got me. Because you're not going to believe that somebody has your back if you can't trust them, or if you don't trust them,
Mm-hmm.
or if you don't
Mm-hmm.
even know that they're there, or when you need them, they're never there. How can you build that trust? So if you don't think that God's with you or for you, you're going to have a trust factor when it comes to believing that God's got you. So we have to deal with that. What does that mean, that God is for me or God is with me? God is with you. He's everywhere. That's just a fact. It's not like he leaves me and he goes over to your place just to be with you. God doesn't have to do that. He's everywhere. He's in everything. And we have to have that attractive thinker eye to really see that God is in everything. He can talk to you through your cell phone. He could talk to you through the lamp with that light coming out of it. He could talk to you through hanging up clothes on the line, or putting clothes in the washer, or cleaning up your kitchen. God is in everything. And we have to
Yes.
know that. We have to know that. And when you think about that part right there, that he's in everything, that means he's everywhere, and he's with you, he's for you, and he's got you. We have to
Yes.
understand that part. Understand that he's for you.
Yes.
It is his will that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. He has good thoughts of you, plans to prosper you, give you hope in the future. How can he not be for you? Even scripture says, if God be for you, who can be against you? So he's for you. So he's
Yes.
for you, and he's with you. He says, I am with you even until the ends of the world. He said, be strong and courageous, for I am with you everywhere you go. Wherever you go, I'm there. So he's with you, he's for you, and he's got you, attractive thinker. And we have to
Yes.
rely and relax and understand, just embrace that, have that awareness, and trust it, believe it. And you can take baby steps. I'm not saying just jump all in and, oh yeah, I know God's got me and I don't have no doubts and no fears. I'm not saying that. Take baby steps if you have a trust issue with God.
Mm-hmm.
Because God
Mm-hmm.
is faithful, and he's reliable, and he's trustworthy. He's trustworthy. When it comes down to having a trust issue with God, I'm going to share something with you. I know what that's like. I remember when I lost trust and faith in God. You're like, wow, you, Dr. Toni, the attractive thinker? Yes, because life can throw you some curveballs that can knock you right off of your feet and make you question everything that you knew or that you thought you knew to be true. And not only did I was losing myself gradually, but I was losing my faith and my trust in God because of what I was going through. I was like, I did everything right according to what I knew what was right. I prayed, I had faith, I took the action because I'm not a lazy person. That's one thing everybody knows about me. If I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. So I was trying to figure out, like, how come this happened that way, or this didn't work out the way I prayed about and believed for. And it made me question my relationship with God. It made me
Yes.
question, like, is it real? Does it really exist? Or do me and God have it like that? Come on, attractive thinker. This is real talk. I'm like, God, I
Yes.
thought we had it like that. I thought that we could communicate. I know I can hear you talking to me. I thought you could hear me talking to you. I had faith. You said, stand on your word. You said, believe. You said, take action. I did all of that. And it still didn't turn out in a favorable according to me, in a favorable outcome. So now what do you do with that? It makes you quit, make you step back. Anybody would step back from a relationship and say, wait a minute, we got to reassess. I thought we had it like that. I thought we were on the same page, you know, and your trust is on the line. Now your trust is on the table, and you got to reassess and figure out, should I be trusting in this area? Because it didn't benefit me. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes down to trusting God, we have to understand and remember his ways are not our ways. So meaning my way was to work it out this way. If his ways are not my ways, just because it happened and fell out of or went through a different way, or I got a result from a different channel, a different path or outcome, doesn't mean that he wasn't for me. It just meant that he took control of the situation. He knew what was best for me. He knew how to bless me in a way that I hadn't even considered. And I had to trust that. I had to trust that his way is not my way, and it's going to be okay because God is for me. What is your take on that, Tichet?
Yes, God is for you. You said something earlier. You said he's for and with you. A lot of times we think that he's with us, but we might not believe that he's for us, you know, and a lot of that might stem from our beliefs of not deserving or disqualifying ourselves for God to think that, you know, we deserve to be blessed, or feeling like we missed the mark, you know, self-condemnation. There's a lot of things that go on in our mind that we'll say, okay, he's with us, he sees us, but maybe he's not for us. And I want you to know that he's not only with you, he is for you. And, you know, it takes a lot to trust, you know, because sometimes trusting, you know, is walk by faith and not by sight. And when you're trusting, sometimes you can't really see everything. You don't have all the equations, you know. And so when you're trusting, you're stepping out on the water, you know, you're stepping out on the water, and you don't know where your next step is. You don't know if when you press down, if that foot is going to step onto something. So when you trust it, you're believing wholeheartedly that if I'm willing to walk out on this water, he got me. He's going to have me so that I don't sink.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot that comes into play with this, because that, for instance, I had a situation where I remember, you know, not really having anything to eat. You know, my daughter, you know, we were hungry. We were going through a stage where we were hungry, and I didn't know where our next meal was going to come from, to be honest. And so I always get emotional because of that, because when I think back to how awesome he took care of me, I always get really emotional and overwhelmed with gratitude. You know, so we weren't hungry, and, you know, I was trying to go to church, and, you know, I was scraping, you know, nickels and dimes to put in gas money just to get there. And I just, you know, I was really through. I had enough, you know, and just when you think that you had enough, he comes in and give you a little more strength. So I end up, you know, going to church. I end up sowing whatever I had. And this is all trusting, because I had to believe that whatever I put out is going to come back to me, pressed down, shaken together, and run it over. I had to believe that. So when you're believing and you're having faith, that confident knowing, and you're sowing seeds, you're trusting that you're willing to let go, because you're willing to understand that he's going to bring in far more than you ever can imagine. So I was going out here, I was hungry, you know, I made it to church, I wanted to sow a seed, I wanted to tithe, you know, but it took a lot of trusting, because that was my last dollar, you know. And then within 6 days, he worked out a miraculous way of putting me on a point to be six figures within 6 days. So you think in 6 days, here, this one point, I had nothing. And here, I had more than enough. The bridge went so fast that I didn't even understand how this happened, and God can bless you in so many ways and avenues. We cannot really get caught up in what we think God, how he should bless us and how he should come through. We just have to trust and believe that he's going to come through, and that's what I did. I just trusted and believed. And so he was willing to bless me, through a source that I didn't even see coming. I always tell people, you never know who's waiting to bless you. So if you're going through struggle and hardship, sometimes all it takes is for you to trust. Sometimes all it takes is for you to listen and open your eyes and see what he's telling you to do. There was something, it didn't come easy though. There was definitely a sacrifice that came with it. So when you're trusting, you're believing that he's giving you everything. He's giving you everything that you need, everything that you want and desire and more. And you're trusting that he's got you. You have to trust. If with all your might, with all your heart, you have to trust and really allow yourself to believe that not only is he for you, but he is also with you. And that will help you to endure and help you to remain calm and stable in knowing who God is, the God of more than enough, and knowing that no matter what it looks like right now, any given minute, anything could change. I always tell people, any minute of today can change your whole outcome for tomorrow. Any minute, you never know who's going to walk through that door and cut you a check. You never know who's going to sow a seed. You never know what business you put out there is going to take off, and it could take off at any given moment. You can have put a seed out there, and then all of us, you could not have been paying attention, and all of a sudden that one seed sprout. You could be doing videos and songs and books. All it takes is one exposure. All it takes is one viral video, one book, one person to mention your book, one person to mention your business. All it takes is one, and that's God. He can come in and do so much with what it is you have in your hand and help you multiply it. So when I was going through that transition, it was hard to think that I would make it out of it, but my handlebars was the trusting and believing that God had me. So I sowed that seed in good faith. I sowed that seed in faith. It was not easy. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. It was not easy. I thought about so many things I could do with that dollar, but I'm thankful that I was able to, and that he was able to multiply that seed in a tremendous way and allow me to actually start living my dream.
Yes. Tichet, you said so many incredible things. Faith is a walk in the dark. And when we're walking in real faith, we don't have the answers. And when you're walking in real faith, you don't look normal. You don't look like everybody else around you. You look out of place. When you're walking in real faith, people don't understand you. You don't understand. When you're walking in real faith, you're just going on a word because you heard a voice. When you're walking in real faith, you may not have the resources, the money, the step-by-step instructions, the location, the direction. You may not have that, but you're taking it one step at a time, one voice at a time, one word at a time when you're walking by real faith, because it's a walk in the dark. Think about how you have to walk if you're wherever you are right now. If somebody turned all the lights out and it's so dark that you can't even see your hand in front of your face. How do you get to the room? You may even know where the door is because of how you got in there, but because the lights are out, it's going to take you longer to get to that door than it did when you were, in the room with the lights on. So faith is the same way. It's a walk in the dark. There's some hesitancy. Don't think that, faith is just fully believing, no doubt and no fear, because it's going to come. In some shape or form, it's going to come to challenge you, to strengthen you, to get through that thing that you're going through and to get to the other side so that you can reap the rewards and the benefits, because you cannot continue to sow seeds and not reap any fruit. You have to be determined that I'm going to reap the fruit of the seeds that I've sown in my life, the good seeds that I've sown, the great seeds that I've sown, the strong, powerful, passionate seeds that I've sown in my life. I'm determined to see and reap the fruits of that. So that faith it's like a walk in the dark, and you have to know that God's got you. You're not alone. You couldn't have, if you think about where you are right now, you couldn't have gotten to this place in your life without God's help, without some kind of supernatural support, without some supernatural being that you're relying on, without somebody bigger than you that you're hoping in and trusting in and talking to and asking for guidance. We couldn't have gotten to this place right here. And you might say, well, I know a lot of people who don't believe in God, and they reach different levels in their life. Didn't I just say that God is everywhere and he's in everything? When that person is in their particular environment and they're pursuing a contract or pursuing this or pursuing that, who do you think is maneuvering that and making that happen? Whether you believe God exists or not, it doesn't negate the fact that he's here. He's here,
Yes.
and he does what he does. We are his creation, and he supports us in the way that he supports us, and he's faithful like that. And you can trust him. He's a standard. He's a foundation. He's the constant in our lives. And just because somebody doesn't believe in something does not mean it does not exist. That doesn't erase it. It doesn't negate the fact that it exists and that it's here, that it's real. They may not be aware of it, may not have tapped into it, but it's still functioning. God is still moving in our lives. He's still expressing himself. He's still inspiring us. Not believing in God, where do you think your ideas come from? Where did your breath come from? Who's breathing in you? Where does your creativity come from? When you finish with one idea and creating that, where did the other idea come from? It's coming from an endless spiritual resource, an endless treasure, an endless reservoir of ideas and creativity and inspiration and motivation and direction and all kinds of beautiful things that he's given us. He said, I've given you everything that pertains to life and godliness. I've given you love and joy and peace. I've given you confidence and courage. I've given you insight and wisdom and discernment. I've given you the Holy Spirit. I've given you my name. I've given you authority. I've given you power. I've given you life everlasting. He's given us everything. And when we say everything, we're not talking about materialistic things. When God gives you everything, he's trusting that you know how to create the things that you want from the everything that he gave you. We have to know how to use what God gave us. That's why a lot of times we don't see the value. We don't think we have everything. We don't think that we have anything to use because we don't see the value in the things that he gave us. I value my peace more than anything. I make decisions now based on my peace. That's how valuable it is to me. My peace is priceless. You can't buy my peace. All the money in the world can't buy my peace. You can't offer me something in exchange for my peace. That's how valuable my peace is. So when you begin to value the intangible things, the external things, they don't lose their value. You become more valuable in the process. And now the things that you thought were valuable, they're not in the forefront. They're not as much of a priority because now you're walking around feeling rich. You're walking around in your wealth and all of the things that God has given you. And when you're wealthy on the inside, you begin to attract wealth on the outside. That's how this works. God's got you. He's given you everything that pertains to life and godliness. We just have to learn how to use what he gave us because he's always there. He's always providing for us. He always has our best interests at heart. But remember, his ways are not our ways. As a child, they taught me about God, and I thought God was my friend. I thought he had my best interests at heart. I thought that my life was just going to work out great because now I knew God and I was partnering with God and in agreement with God and talking to God. But because his ways are not my ways, the way he blesses, he could do something and call it a blessing, and that's his way of blessing me, and I look at it as a curse. It's possible. Or I look at it as he's trying to hurt me or get me back for something. Or maybe that's because of what I did or what I said, or because we don't know the ways of God. We don't know how God operates. Even at a time like this, I was just sharing with someone the other day at a time like this when everything is in an uproar. It's like confusion everywhere. If it's not this thing, it's that thing, and everything's happening all at once. You got an issue over here and an issue over there and an issue. It's, you can still find God in the midst. And if you can find that God wave in the midst of all that confusion, all you got to do is get on that wave and just ride that wave right through the middle of this pandemic, right through the middle of the protests and the riots and all of this stuff that's going on, right through the middle of your circumstances and your little issues in your world, because we live in a world, but we're creating our world inside of this world. So you have your world, I have my world, and they have their world, and this one has that world, and we're all living in the world. And there, you can't get consumed by all of this stuff and think like, where is God in the midst of all of this? God's got you. God's got you. All you have to do is anchor your faith and be for real. Believe God for real. Open your mouth and declare it. Make a declaration. God, I believe you for real. I'm just going to hold your hand, and we're just going to walk through this together, and I'm not going to let go. I might get weak sometimes. I might get scared sometimes. I might doubt sometimes, but I'm not going to let your hand go because I trust you. I don't agree with everything, how everything rolls and how things pan out, but I trust you. I know that all things work together for good. I know that. I know that the disappointments, they're working together for good. The frustrations, they're working together for good. The outcome that I didn't desire is working together for good. That's a trust factor. So it's not a God factor. Ain't nothing wrong with God. It's a trust factor. And in order to believe that God's got you, you have to believe that he's for you and he's with you. Back to you, Tichet.
That is amazing. You really have to believe that he's for you and with you. I don't know how much more we can, really elaborate or reiterate on that, because when you trust him with all your might and you're standing in a place of needing, and you're standing in a place of prayer because of all the things that's going on, and you see all of this, and you have your questions, and some stuff you don't even know if it's, you question whether it is of God. You question whether he is in the midst. You question that stuff because we can't understand the things that he's putting together, because his thoughts is higher than our thought. His ways is higher than our ways. So we're not going to always understand that. And then another thing, he's not going to always give you all of the instructions right away. So you have to trust the one that he gave you. You have to trust the step he told you to take, and he will, you're right, he will bless what's in your hand, especially if he gave you that idea. I believe that if God told us to do a certain thing, not only will he open the door, he'll also provide for that. We have to get in a habit of not just trusting, but accepting. Because sometimes God want to bless us and show us that he's there, but we reject it because of limited thinking, feeling like we don't deserve, or feeling like, oh, this is a scam. And, we're quick to shoot down stuff, but he shows up in so many ways. I'm not saying that if somebody comes with the scam that you just jump into everything. You definitely have to have discernment, so that you know the difference. Discernment is key when you're walking by faith, because you got to understand who's talking.
Yes.
Is this just flesh? Is this spirit? Is this just desire, or is this wisdom? But then when God gives you the wisdom and the ideas, now you need courage. So I always say, God, give me the wisdom, but also give me the courage to do what wisdom tells me to do. Because sometimes I see that he'll tell me to go here, go left, turn this way, turn this rock over, you'll see this. But I could get so caught up in me having to know everything at one time. And with me not knowing everything at one time, I insert fear. And when I insert the fear, I reject what he's trying to do, because I'm scared. I don't know what's under that rock. I don't know what's over that hill. I don't know what's over there. I don't know that person. Why would that person give me anything? We question a lot of things because we don't have understanding. And that's why we can't lean lean not into your own understanding. You know, acknowledge him in all your ways and he will direct your path. So in the midst of all these things going on, it is key to have discernment so that you know whether or not he is directing your path. He answers all things. He's answering. You're praying, he's hearing you. You're praying, he's answering you. I know some of you might say, well, I haven't heard anything, I haven't seen anything. The next question would be, have you been listening? Have you been looking? You know, and have you been believing? Because he can say a lot of things, whether we believe it or not. That determines whether or not the next experience that's created is one in favor of what the bigger picture is. And the reason why I said that is because when you're trusting, when you are believing, and you know that he is directing you, he will give you a lot of different steps. He will give them to you, and you just have to believe in it.
That's what I'm talking about, doing your part. We have to do our part when it comes down to faith. But when we talk about God's got you, he's got you in that too.
Yes.
And you got to have faithful. You got to put the works towards it. Do you know, attractive thinker, that you are the creator of your world, that your life is unfolding and becoming revealed to you as you go? And if you don't go, ain't nothing going to happen. It's you, attractive thinker. And when we say God's got you, you have to understand that with that support, if I told you, if I say, I got you, attractive, oh, no, don't worry about nothing. And you keep turning around and looking and checking to make sure I'm there and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing to have you, to support you, to make sure you're successful, that's not trust. Fully trusting is you turn around and you walk straight ahead and knowing that I'm right behind you. That's fully trusting. You don't have time when you're running straight ahead. You don't have time to look behind you and check on the people who say they had your back to see if they're still there. No, you need trustworthy people. And a lot of, I'm going to tell you something else. A lot of our distrust that we have towards God is because we have experience in our energy of distrusting people because they've let us down so many times. And how do you do that? How do you distrust people? Sometimes we bring the wrong people into our lives, and all they do things that cause you to distrust them. They're not accountable. They don't follow through. They're not responsible. And then when you call them up on stuff and check them, they get attitudes. That can break your trust in humanity. That can break your trust in people. But when you're around people who are accountable, who follow through, who are responsible, who do what they say they're going to do, it builds your trust in humanity and it builds your trust in people. You no longer have those trust issues. One of the things I've realized from coaching attractive thinkers from around the world, and even not just in the United States, but how they respond to God is stemming from how they've responded to other people, or the perception that they have of God, their father, stems from the relationship they had with their natural father. If they didn't trust their natural father, they're going to struggle to trust a father that they can't see. So this trust issue and believing that God's got you is deep. It goes really, really deep, and it calls for assessing. You know, it's easy to say, oh, God's got me. Oh, God's got me. Or God's got my back. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? But you got to sit down and assess. Do you really believe that? Will you think, won't he do it for you? Do you think he'll do it for you? That's another thing that I had to deal with myself. I was believing God for everybody else. But when it came down to me, I started doubting and hesitating and wondering. And then I started thinking about all the things I said and did and didn't do and did. You know, God ain't a man. You know, attractive thinker, God ain't a man. He don't do that kind of stuff. He don't think like that. That's us. That's coming from us. So when we say God's got you, we got to move all of this craziness out of the way so God can have us. He's trying to have us. But we keep blocking it, and we keep distrusting and disbelieving and have faith one day and no faith the next day. God ain't do nothing. He didn't change. He didn't move. We did. With the fluctuating thoughts. We moved with the fluctuating belief. We moved with the fluctuating trust. You trust God today, and then you don't trust God tomorrow. Or you trust God this morning, and by the afternoon, everything is shot. You don't even know who God is. You don't even know if he has your back. See, all of that's coming from us. It calls for
Yes.
assessment because God hasn't gone anywhere. He's right where you left him. And that's one
Right.
of the things that I've learned in my life, Tichet, is I don't have to go far to find God. He's right where I left him. Back to you.
Yeah. Yes, that is so amazing. You don't have to go anywhere to find God. He's right where he left you. He's right where you left him.
Yeah.
You know, he never went anywhere. He's right there, you know, always waiting with open arms. There was something that you said earlier about creating your universe, creating a world within the world.
Yes.
And one of the things that I know is that we are creating our experiences through a series of yes and no's, acceptance and rejecting. You're even accepting something or you're rejecting something.
Yeah.
So when you reject something, that creates one experience. When you accept something, that creates another experience. So when we are trusting God and we're walking in trusting God and he gives us something, you then are left with the decision to accept it or reject it. And there's consequences that come with everything, with every decision, there's consequences. You have to walk out the consequences. That's something we can't, get away from.
Yeah.
So when you're creating a world within a world, you have to understand who gave you the ability to. Who's the head of your household? Who's the head of your mind? What's taking up your mental space? What are you allowing in that defines or identify what you are going through that allows you to accept or reject what he's putting in your mind or what he's putting in your life or the blessings that he have come for you? Because you said it's sometimes we put the trust in people, the same trust in people, and we put that same trust in God, And like you said, he's more than that. He doesn't operate the way that we do, but it's hard to not equate what we see. If we see 1, 2, 3, it's hard to not say 4 is not coming next when all you ever saw was 1, 2, 3, 4. You keep getting that sequence. So based on that sequence, you say, okay, based on this is most likely how this is going to turn out. But God doesn't operate that way. He is all. He can do all. So he doesn't have to live by the standards and the rules that's created by this world. He has his own set of standards and rules. This is why we have favor. This is why, he's granting us grace and mercy. This is why he'll bless in so many areas that you might not even see him coming. I say sometimes those blessings come at the most inopportune time. Yeah. Where I'm like, how will he come through that way? But I've learned to just trust, just lean, to have discernment and know that because he's not operating by those rules, just because I see that this sequence happen, that doesn't mean that I'm going to get that same response. That doesn't mean I'm going to have the same consequences. That just means I'm just going to accept whatever God has given me in my hand. I'm going to accept it as mine. I'm going to then use it to serve and then allow him to bless it and then put myself in a position to receive the blessing. It's an amazing journey. Once you get through all of this, and like I said earlier, hindsight is 20/20, and you turn around and you look back, you'll see so many things that you missed the first time. I tell people all the time, God is interested in the details of your life. He's interested in everything you got going on. He's interested in so many layers. He's interested in the light and even the dark, because sometimes that dark that we go through is contrast and it's necessary to create more light.
I totally agree. That is so beautiful. I love that. I love that contrast. I love what you were saying about his presence and being there. And it was something that you said, Tichet, that moved me in another area when you were talking about God's ways and the outcomes and things like that.
Yes.
What came to me was we have to remember that we live by a different set of rules. You said that, but we live in from another kingdom.
Yes.
Okay? So we can't go to God with these kingdom resources and experiences and circumstances. We have to go to God based on the kingdom that we've accepted and we exchanged our lives for when we accepted Christ in our life. So we live according to a different set of rules. You said he's blessed us with favor, peace, love, joy, things like
Yes.
that. In this kingdom, when you say somebody gave you something, listen to this. When you say somebody gave you something, you're talking about something tangible. Gave you a car, a house, some money, an outfit, a gift, an opportunity or something like that. When it comes down to God, he gives you favor, he gives you insight, he gives you wisdom, creativity, he gives you discernment, and he's expecting us to take the things that he gave us to go and get those other things that people, those tangible things that we talk about. The gifts that God gave is enough for us to manifest, to use to manifest the things that we desire. So does it change our prayer? Instead of praying for these tangible things, does it change our prayer? Our prayer should be, Lord, help me. Remember, I said this to you a long time. This was years ago, Tichet. I stopped praying and asking God for things. I told God, I said, show me how to use what you've already given me. I stopped praying for houses and cars and money and things and wanting to do this and that and the other. And I because I understood that he had already given me things and I hadn't mastered how to use them yet. And I wanted to know, peace. When you think of peace, you just think of something quiet or not a lot going on, or you're sitting meditating, or you're okay in your heart, or you're happy or whatever. But peace is deep. Peace is deep. If you want to know the value of peace, try to open your front door and let confusion come in.
Yes.
Think about all the stuff that wants to roll up on you when you're sitting there minding your business, and you'll understand the value of your peace. If you've ever been in turmoil, the value of peace rises through the roof. Because you're hungry. You want to go back to that peaceful state. You're like, God, if I could just get through this and get back to my peace. See, a lot of times we don't value the things that God has given us because we haven't been through enough in life to see them as valuable. If you ever want to know the value of love, try not having it. Try being in a situation where there's no love being reciprocated, and then you'll understand the value of love or joy. If you want to understand the value of something that sounds so simple as joy, try going throughout life and not having your needs met, or not seeing anything to smile about, or every time you turn around, it's something else that's going on, or something else you got to work out, or somebody wants you for something else, or this. As soon as you get money, it's gone out the door, or you got hopes and dreams. You stepped into your new house, and then all the water pipes need to be changed, and just come on, think about that. If you've never had these things happen in your life, you value joy and peace so much, and you can't wait to get back to it. Now you see now you see the value of, I won't go say how much it costs or the price of it, but now you see how important it is to have those things in your life.
Yes.
Because look at where we are right now, the condition that the world is in right now, but I still have my peace because I know the Prince of Peace, because I've experienced peace that passes all understanding. I understand that. And I know what it looks like when chaos is going on. See, you got to have an attractive thinker eye in the middle of a situation, in the middle of chaos and confusion. You have to have the ability to see beyond what you're looking at. That's the essence of the attractive thinker movement. And you have to remind yourself that you are from another kingdom. You live by a different set of rules. When challenges knock on your door, an attractive thinker don't stand there and open the door and look at the challenge. You look around the challenge because you're looking for the opportunity. Like, all right, challenge. I see you. Move to the side. All right, I see you trying to block my view of the blessing. You're trying to block my view of the opportunity. But all right, but the mere fact that you're standing here, and I know that there's an opportunity too. But opportunities are not going to step aside and let you be exposed to you, or let you see them. You have to be determined. See, it comes from a knowing. You have to look for it. Wait a minute. Yeah. That's a challenge. Yeah, you're knocking on my door. Yes, that was unexpected, but there's an opportunity too. Come on out there, opportunity. I see you hiding behind that challenge. You know, you got to have an eye for that, and you get what you're looking for. The Bible says, seek and you will find. If you're seeking challenges and bad days, and every time you turn around, something's happened, that's exactly what you're going to get, because you're the creator of your world. See, when you realize you have that kind of power, you got to be responsible for that power. The power of your words, the power of your thoughts. That's your power. Don't let everybody have access to your power. That's your power. Your attention, what you put your focus on, that has a power. Everything is fighting for your attention. That's why you get distractions.
Yes.
Because they're fighting for your attention. Do you know that the only things that can manifest in your life are the things you give your attention to? That's how powerful your attention is. So when something is trying to get your attention, it's trying to come alive.
Wow.
It needs your focus in order to live.
Wow.
Think about that, attractive thinker. So take your focus back. Don't give life to things that you don't want to manifest and grow in your life. The only way you give life to them is with your focus. So I don't let everybody's drama become my drama. I had to make that decision. Yes, that's going on in your world, but you're not going to bring that over here. If you come into me, you're coming for a solution. If you're not ready for a solution, you ain't ready for the attractive thinker. So toodaloo. Toodaloo, because my peace is priceless. Back to you, Tichet.
My peace is priceless. It is. My peace is my priority. I have to state that every day, number one, for a reminder. I have to tell myself my peace is my priority, because really that's like the first thing I seem to let go is my peace. And not protecting my power is another thing that I have a habit of doing. And then when, stuff hits the fan, you're trying to figure out what's going on. You're going crazy. You're panicking and all that stuff. And a lot of it was just really unnecessary. All of the panic and stuff, because when you're trusting and you're believing, when he gives you something and if you have that going on for you and it's in your hand, he can really bless it and really move you forward, and I just thank God. I'm so grateful for it, because when I look back over everything, I could tell him, thank you for every tear that I cried. So like you, my prayers also changed. My prayers are that of gratitude, and if you believe something strong enough, like you said, whatever you focus on grows. When you believe something strong enough and you are focusing that energy in it to manifest it, it's going to come to pass. It's going to happen. You got to believe, you got to trust, you got to step out on it. You got to accept it. It's going to come to pass, and put everything that you have into it. Just trusting, just believing, taking things one step at a time, and I thank God that when we pray, he hears us, but believe it enough that you see it manifesting, that it becomes your being. You end up being that thing you're praying for. So if you're a person who, like me, let go of power, not let go of power, but sometimes I don't protect my power. Sometimes I might get into a position where I might not believe or acknowledge the power that's within me, but I'm stepping out and trusting anyway. And I'm focusing on that anyway, knowing that he's going to lead me and guide me, and I'm going to get more than I bargained for. And he's going to order my steps, and I'm going to walk out those steps and create a whole new world within itself. I have the choice. It's all a choice, and then when you believe what he is trying to convey to you, which is sometimes might be hard to swallow, because you say, you sending me out there and I'm going up this mountaintop and speaking all over the world. That was hard to fathom. Moses had a hard time. He said, surely you must be thinking of anybody else that can do this, because I stutter and I'm sure he gave, God so many excuses. So when he's calling you and he's calling you out into the deep, the last thing we want to do is give him back our excuses with limitations.
Yes.
We say, oh, I can't walk. I got one leg missing. I got this, that, and the other. But if you can put yourself in a place where you just trusting and step out anyway, and knowing that you can create your experience by a series of yes or no, starting with the yes of God, I will do all that you called me to do. I will be all that you want me to be. And you believe it wholeheartedly, focusing and manifesting, the results is so unbelievably great. Unbelievably great. Because you look back at everything and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I created that. And then you see that whole time he had you. Oh, that person said something that added to you. Remember I said earlier, he cares about the details. Every little thing is a piece of a puzzle of a bigger picture. So when you got this little thing going on, yeah, that might not work out the way you thought it might work. But again, it's part of the bigger picture. It goes towards a puzzle piece. Remember, you're trusting for the big picture. You're always trusting for the big picture. You're not getting so caught up in sight that you forget and let go of the vision.
Yes.
And that's why we're here, to make sure you don't abort your vision. When things go on, you don't abort your vision. When things go on, you don't let go of what you originally thought about it. You're not so caught up in, like you always say, feelings that's changing. You know, you're not so caught up in that. You're caught up in the vision and you keep carrying it and carrying it and carrying it, you know, until you manifest that thing that you know God gave you. And he'll be there with you the whole time because he got you.
Yeah, I believe that, Tichet. I love it when you said the big picture. So that's how attractive thinkers see things. Instead of looking at the little details and all that's going on, zoom back so you can get a panoramic view and look at the big picture, and you'll be able to see God moving and willing and dealing and working all things together for your good. This is your attractive thinker assignment. I want to give you an assignment. I want you to just extract the lessons that you've learned from your experiences. Because sometimes we go through things and we're so excited to come out of them. We feel like, you know, maybe God wasn't with us, or it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, or whatever. I want you to extract the lessons so that you can show yourself, so you can see for yourself that you did get something out of it, that he was with you. And I guarantee you, you can never go back over the experiences that you've had in your life and start pulling lessons without God revealing something deeper to you, without God revealing to you what you missed, what you forgot, what you didn't take out of the journey with you. So I want you to just pull the lessons, get an attractive thinker notebook and just start writing down all the lessons that you've learned in your life, all the experiences that you had, what you took from it. How did you get better? How did it enhance your life? Because see, you got to seek for God in order to find him. He's not on the surface. He's in the deep. He's not in all the little things that's going on. He's in the big picture. Okay. So attractive thinkers, I trust that you got a lot out of this message. Tichet and I dropped a lot of golden nuggets along the way. Those gems, you're supposed to capture those gems so that you can use them. I want you to stay tuned to our YouTube channel, Beyond the Break 2020. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any episodes. I want you to share this channel. Get your circle of influence to subscribe to our channel, because you never know who's dealing with something that you may not be able to help them with, but they'll hear something that Tichet and I might say through inspiration that will inspire them, motivate them, lift them up, give them clarity, get them back in the race of life, get them back going after their dream. You never know, because like we said in the beginning of this episode, sometimes when you're going through things, you don't share them with everybody because there's some shame attached to it, or you don't want everybody to know you're going through something. You don't want everybody to know you feel a certain way about this or that. So have them subscribe to our YouTube channel so they can get the information firsthand for themselves. Beyond the Break 2020. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your Break the Cycle specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. This is where we support new and aspiring inspiring entrepreneurs with the mental tools that they need to accomplish their goals, writing their books, starting their businesses. We host clarity sessions. If you get stuck, you can get on my calendar for a clarity session to get you unstuck in that procrastination, give you the instructions, the step-by-step instructions you need to move forward with your dream. 9 times out of 10, you're around people that aren't dreaming, aren't creating anything. That's sucking the life right out of you. Your energy is going right down the drain because you're a creator. You're excited, you're radical, you're passionate about life and living it, and you want to see your ideas manifest. So we provide resources for you to do just that. And don't forget, visit the Visual Encourager. Tichet, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you.
You can contact me on my website at www.visualencouragement.com, where we provide mental support for people who are dealing with depression, who desires to lift the heaviness so that they can create a new vision for themselves. Go to my Contact Us page, put in your information, let us know how we can mentally support you, uplift you, and help you to live a life of fulfillment. Again, that's www.visualencouragement.com.
Our life's work is always to make your life better. Remember, it is not what you're going through, it's how you're viewing it. Think attractively. We'll see you soon.